Hey guys, Thomas Jr. here, aka Mustache Tom, here to finally review Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Before I talk about this game, I first want to discuss the whole westernization process. Somewhere in the late 2015 point, there was a petition made to get Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth westernized. I signed this petition pretty early on as I wanted to see Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth westernized. And lo and behold, early 2016, that came to fruition. And luckily, they acknowledged that they actually listened to the fans and westernized this game. So thank you to everyone who signed that petition, and thank you to the creators who listened to the fans. So this is a very big thank you game, I feel like now. So that's that. So let's talk about previous Digimon games for a bit before I talk about this game specifically. Digimon World 4 was a game I was kind of disappointed in, and it was the first Digimon World game I was disappointed in. Then there was Digimon Battle Online, an MMO that just fell apart and is gone now. Then there's Digimon Masters Online, a game that still exists but has so many of the same issues of Digimon Battle Online and has yet to be fixed, including a good story. And that's present here in Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, and it's even in the title. Even though I would a bit prefer just to call it Digimon Cyber Sleuth, I think that's a bit of a simpler name overall. Anyways, names aside, here in this game, it harkens back to some of the earlier Digimon games, including Digimon World 2 with the 3-on-3 combat system, and Digimon Dawn and Dusk as you scan Digimon in battle and upload them in order to obtain them into your party. You start off with either picking a male or female avatar, and you enter the game or the world of Digimon. And from there, once you enter into the digital space, as it were, you either pick Palmon, Terriermon, or Gearmon. And the three starters here are a good way to help newcomers come into the game and understand the whole vaccine, virus, and data thing that Digimon has known for, or to be simplified, the rock, paper, scissors ordeal. And thankfully, that's the case here. Now, I know they're not the best starters, but that is kind of the point. They're sort of these mid-tier Digimon that are there to help you just start the game. As you go along, you can easily collect some of the more famous and popular Digimon that I'm sure fans will most likely pick as they go along. Now, to my surprise, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is an incredibly long game. I was sure this game was going to be short. And lo and behold, this game is 20 chapters long, filled with story and dialogue. Plenty of dialogue, and that is incredible for a Digimon game, I feel. That is impressive to me. And for the first time ever, at least to my knowledge, this is the first time, again, I think, in a game where the Digimon actually have speaking roles. I'm not too familiar if the battle games have dialogue that Digimon talk in, but it is nice to hear them have actual conversations for once, as it brings them to have a character so they can be acknowledged as characters, as we see Nokia, one of your online hacker pals, immediately or pretty quickly meets Agumon and Gabumon, who are also in the cover, so that's not much of a spoiler. It's right there on the upper left. So Agumon and Gabumon are hysterical characters They just have fun. They have no clue who this girl is, but they feel like they know her. And it sort of builds up this mystery along with her in the two on the upper right and their connection with each other. So that is the main mystery, but there are quite a few other things that happen, and where the story does go isn't too much of a surprise for me. This has been something that Digimon has done before, more akin to the show, but it's being done here in the video game now. And again, it's not that surprising, and I might spoil it a little bit later. I might do a spoiler review later on. But for now, I might leave that to if anyone wants to even hear that. So I'll try to keep this as spoiler free as possible. So as I said, the characters are pretty great. I liked Nokia and I liked her interactions with Agumon and Gabumon. The two in the upper right, their characters were okay. They were serviceable at best for me, and they helped the story along, so that also helps. So there are about 200 Digimon in this game, so there's quite a lot to collect in this video game. And although I would still wish that the Digimon in your party had talking dialogue as well, it's nice to know that they still interact with you from time to time, even though it does get a bit repetitive later on in the game. It's still nice to see that they interact with you at the very least, as I said. Now, if I were to nitpick anything from this video game, there is a little thing with the hacking that I do have a bit of a nitpick with. And it doesn't really break the game by any means. No, it's nothing like that. It's something pretty small. Now, some of this doesn't even apply to all the hacking skills, but there are one or two that I feel like could be fixed a bit, but we'll see if that happens. So, there's this ability called copy and paste. Now, when you take these things that are colored and you copy them and you're supposed to move them to another location and paste them, I wish there was some sort of indication to tell you whether you're copying or pasting, as it can get confusing as there are sometimes multiple different colors and you might put something in the wrong spot. Things of that nature did happen to me when I first played this game, as well as it kind of lost in the video game, as some of the dialogue doesn't necessarily always tell you where to go, but that's another issue dealing with translation. But there was enough there to just sort of go around and just figure it out on your own, or on my own in this case. But that aside, there are other skills that I wished had some more transparency to them. The few in particular that I would like to see are when you either increase or decrease your chances of having a battle. Particularly when you decrease, there should be some indication of whether or not you want to fight or not fight. I don't know. Again, that's more of a nitpick, and I think it does go by area. So later on in the game, I did choose to fight a bit less, so I usually picked to decrease my battle, but I never knew when it was on, and I kind of figured that it probably does go by room. So there is that tip. If you're in a different room and you just don't want to fight, or you do want to fight more, try putting the skill back on, because I think it turns off room by room. So this game, I do feel that the tutorial will be enough for newcomers, but this game definitely uh, is meant for the audiences who already know what Digimon are. Now that is a bit of a problem, I do feel like. Now again, it's sort of hard to tell others, hey, Digimon's a pretty okay game, and they might not even know what Digimon is, and I wouldn't even blame them. I mean, Digimon kind of went away for a long time. I mean, there was a huge gap between Digimon World 4 and any other big main video game that came out. It feels like they took a break though to really help themselves, but there were some fumblings along the way as far as video games are concerned, and of course I mentioned those earlier. So that's that issue. But here, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is a fantastic video game in the franchise of Digimon. So, my score is a really solid 8 out of 10. I really do feel like this game is one of the better ones in the series. Even though it doesn't have Digimon World in the title as some of the earlier ones have had, I feel like there's a bit of a connection regardless. So, here's the part where I talk about what comes next for Digimon's in its entirety. Now, my hope is we've had Digimon World 1 through 4, and the fourth one was sort of disappointing. Now we have Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, a pretty solid game, and hopefully it does well. I haven't looked at the numbers yet on sales or anything like that, as I normally typically don't look at that sort of thing when reviewing, anyways. So what's next for Digimon? Here's my hope: Digimon World 5. I feel like that is the best logical step for Digimon to take. Now, will they do it? That's very questionable, as Digimon World 4 did leave a big disappointment, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I feel like if they can accomplish a video game like this, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, I really do think that Digimon World 5 can be just as successful, if not maybe even more successful, as a lot of people who are fans of Digimon want to continue to support the next title. And that's what I want to do. I want to see Digimon World 5 come out, and for everyone who's been supporting it so far to continue to do so if they feel the need to. So here's what I would want to see in Digimon World 5. The word world has been an issue for me in this title franchise, oddly enough, as it does feel like each Digimon world has been limited to a smaller sandboxy type area. Digimon World 1 and Digimon World 3 are primary examples of this, where you kind of do get to go around wherever you want to go, but the area is sort of small and limited. It would be so fascinating to Digimon World 5 to take on the open world genre. And yes, I do say genre even though it's a small set of games. I mean, there's so much potential in exploring a digital world filled with Digimon. Imagine that. That would be crazy. And that's where I want to see this go as far as the world. Now, the combat system is something that has been sort of unique to Digimon specifically, as each title has seemed to do something a bit different, which is something you don't see in a lot of other franchises. So, what I want to see Digimon World 5 do is take on and pay homage to sort of like this sort of Bloodborne-ish style of game where the Digimon you face and the character you are have a heavy combat system where there's evading, different types of attacks, different Digimon do different things. Every enemy would be so different from every other enemy, and I know that's a huge task to take on, as there are a lot of Digimon that could potentially be in the video game, so that would be massive. So, yes, that is a big task to take on, but imagine it. That would be the best thing I've ever seen taken on in a video game. I mean, I don't even know how many Digimon there are currently. I mean, there were some even introduced in this video game, so I don't know what the current number is. So that's what I would want to see, sort of like a evasive slash combat style as far as the combat goes. Now the story of Digimon World 5, I feel like it should focus on the actual Digimon instead of the humans. As much as I enjoyed Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, including Agumon and Gabumon, I would love to see the interactions of the other Digimon as well. Imagine all of the possibilities of character interactions between the different Digimon if that does become the focus. And I do think that it is what Digimon as the show was striving to do, was to create this bond between Digimon and humans where humans think that Digimon are just as equal to them as they are. And that has been severely slacking in the Digimon video games. So to have that be the focus of the dialogue and the speaking, that would only help Digimon out. So that is the I would say that would be the main focus, even if it's not open world, even if it's a much smaller game. Have the Digimon be the focus. Have them be the focal point. Have it so you are the Digimon, perhaps. They are the playable characters. That, that would be amazing. So that's my idea for Digimon World 5. Where it goes from there, it can go anywhere, really. I mean, if the combat system in it of itself can even allude to a fighting game, perhaps if everyone over at Pokemon Company slash Nintendo was open to the idea, we could probably finally have the Digimon versus Pokemon video game that I have been trying to send to Bandai Namco since the release of Digimon World 4. Yes, I actually tried to send them messages saying, hey, you should do Digimon versus Pokemon since Digimon World 4. So that hasn't happened yet. Not to any of my knowledge. I don't know who I can get in contact with to get the idea going. Uh, but I mean, I've tried to get in contact with Bandai Namco. I don't know who I can get into contact with Nintendo slash Pokemon Company. I don't know where that interaction lies. So I would love to see a fighting game between Pokemon and Digimon. And I know someone's going to say, well, that will be unfair. Digimon are so much more overpowered than Pokemon. And there's an easy solution to that. Just introduce a new evolution in the Pokemon status to have one more evolution that equates to the max Digimon evolution. That's a simple solution, and it would create a very interesting fighting game between two franchises that have been going head to head for a decade and has never crossed paths before. That's another potential idea for both Digimon and Pokemon to finally clash, but I highly doubt it will ever happen in my lifetime, but I would love to be proven wrong. I've been trying to get in contact with Bandai Namco because I feel like that is the next step. I feel like since the Pokemon fans are such more larger in number, if they were aware that there was finally a video game where they can combat and either prove or disprove that they're better than the Digimon crew or fans, then that would just be a game where both fans bought the game. That's money for both companies. I mean, That's free money right there. And I'm just saying, here, have this idea. Take it. Take it. I'll take no credit for it. You can have that idea. You can say it's yours. I'll be fine with that. Anyways, that covers Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. If you want to see a spoiler review and where it goes, let me know in the comments. And I hope that Digimon in the future can only get better. I'm Thomas Cecilia Jr., aka Mustache Tom, and I'll see you guys next time.